Welcome to this tutorial in NX. I'm using the synchronized modeling tool. In this tutorial I'm going to go through and delete everything and build the part from scratch. If you don't want to see everything built and you just like an overview on how to use the synchronized motion commands that I did here, look for the video 14.2. If you want a less in-depth but still just a brief overview of these commands, look at 14.3. So 14.2 is I'm going to go over these commands and build it with you, and 14.3 is just going to be a quick look at each one. So let's go ahead and start by deleting everything. So to begin, I'm going to try and avoid sketches just for fun. So we're going to use the design feature. Well, first we're going to want to do full menus. That way we can capture all our design features. We're going to want a block, and we'll want to place it right here on that plane. Well, actually it's going to automatically do that. So our part is 96 in the X direction, and it is in the Y 64, and in the Z direction 64. It is, but that's not what we wanted, because I don't want to be cutting out this block. We only want to make it go up 12, or no, 16, for that's the height of the bottom piece. There, that looks a lot better. Now we want to put the piece over here that we saw, so we're going to insert another block, and its height is the same, and this time its width, the X direction, is not quite so long. That would be only 16. And we're going to do unite, specify a vector, sweet. We're going to use more of that soon, the specify vector, which is super important when building this piece. Now when I built it earlier, I had reversed it. I'd flipped it in how I built it, but this time I'm going to try not to do that. So we're going to insert another block, and we want the vector to be located right here, but we want it offsetted in the Y direction, negative 42. There, it puts our vector in the right location. The problem with blocks is they always have to be positive. So we always have to be moving in the positive direction. So I just put my vector in the positive location, and we're going to extrude it back that way. So our length, which is in the Y direction, actually let's do X, which is 42. Y direction is, no, Y is 42. And our X is 56 minus 16, because the drawing dimensions it, ooh, my vector's not in the right place, from here to here, and so we minus that 16, so we only extrude from here over, because we're supposed to be starting right here. Let's relocate that vector. So we want vector to be located right here. Let's start that again. Vector, cursor location, inferred point. There we go. Now it's in the proper location. We want it to unite. Let's say height, Z direction. It only extrudes up 28. Plop it in. There we are. And then we have one more block to input, and then we're going to cut something out. Let's do one more. This time we want it vector to start right here. So we can also change this right here for assembly part, working only. Yeah, it makes bigger difference when we're working with sketches. Now we want to do a little offset, and the thickness of that part is 12. So we want to come back in the Y direction, 12. That has to be a negative 12. Then that means we want to move in the Y direction, 12. The X direction would be the total length of the part, 96 minus 56. I know my X from here, so I'm orientating myself with the X, Y, and Z because I often forget which direction is which. Our Z, which is height, which is another 28. Unite. Bam. Alright, one more block, and we'll be done using that command. We want our vector to be placed right here. Yes. Then we want an offset in the positive direction, 23 minus 8. So in the Y direction, 23 minus 8. No, minus 4, because no, I'm right, it is an 8. Because our radius of that cutout is 8, and so that's how far back from that dimension, because it's dimensioning from the center point. So it puts us right where we need to go, since we'll be cutting in a positive direction. We also need our vector to be located down here. There we go, because we want to move it up. X direction, we're going to move, and it'd be a negative, so we have to move our vector again. 20. Y is 16, double the radius. Then our height doesn't really matter, because as long as we go thicker than 16. Now we also need to move in the X direction, that negative 20. Bam, we put our block in there, but we forgot to tell it to subtract. There we go. There's our cutout. Now, also, we're going to want this to be 20 plus 8. And right here, our vector is going to be 20 minus 8. So it's a little deeper. So there's all the blocks that we want to put in. Now we can use some champers and fillets. We're going to use the edge blend right here. We know the radius of that is 48. Let's put that in. We want this chamfered over here. Let's put it on that edge. We know the distance. We want to change it to this asymmetric. So distance 1, we want it to be whatever that 96 minus 56 was, and a height of, oh, gotta do that in reverse. Control V. Alright. Now our distances should be 20. 8. There we go. Should update properly. Now we want to put another edge blend in. It's just a quick way of making this around. Call 8. Got our circle, and now we want the circle in here. We could do a cylinder really easy. Cylinder might be a little more difficult than it's worth, but since here I don't want to use this any sketches, this will work. I'm not saying you can't use sketches, it's just, oh no, let's try that again. Sketches are useful and they have their place, but it's kind of cool not having to use them sometimes. There we go, we got our cylinder in the direction we want to go. We just now need to put a radius in there, or diameter. So it needs to be 24 because the radius is 12. Distance will be great. We forgot to use subtract. There we are, we have our part. Now it's time to pretend that this part was imported from another file type and we can't edit it. So we can use some of these tools here. Our synchronized modeling tool. I'll put it over here. I like to use it over here. Doesn't matter where you put it. We're going to add some geometry. We're going to turn on all those buttons. So the first thing we're going to want to do is use the move face command, which is right here. We're going to increase the length of this face and that face. And we're going to change its distance to 30. Pushes it out. The next command is this face right here. So we click on the face command again, click here, and we'll move it out 25. Oh, I canceled out of it. Now we are going to move this diameter. We're going to make it bigger. So we're going to use resize face, and we're going to make it 28. Made it a little bigger. Now we're going to replace a face. So we're going to replace this one with that face to make it flat. So we click on the one we want to change, hit center click, see how it pulls it down over here. You can manually click here if you want to. Pull right there and it straightens it out. Now we're going to want to take this, some things in here, and pull it down. So let's click the offset region. We're going to offset this face and this face -7. And there we go. There's our part, all modified.